Post details an elderly, egotistical president shielded from reality by a slavish coterie of loyalists. Never said that word before. So ailing, mendacious, egotistical, and that's from media outlets that spent 4 years smooching Biden's wrinkly ass. They were so far up his butt, I'm surprised they didn't diagnose the cancer.
Greg Gutfeld unleashed a blazing wave of comedy aimed straight at former President Joe Biden, highlighting every stumble, confused pause, and scrambled comment from his years in office with extra dramatic flair. From wandering off stage to those odd air handshakes that left crowds puzzled, Gutfeld transformed Biden's most baffling moments into a fierce and unforgettable roasting session that had people gasping and laughing at the same time. With no script, no digital prompts, and no friendly media filter to shield him, Biden was fully exposed under Gutfeld's intense spotlight. If anyone thought late-night humor had lost its bite, this explosive performance proved otherwise. Gutfeld brought it roaring back with one of the sharpest and most wildly entertaining Biden takedowns ever seen.
President Biden boasting about how you should be thanking him this Thanksgiving.
Well, this past week, as Americans gathered around their own kitchen tables for Thanksgiving dinner, that was our goal, to give them a little more breathing room. From turkey to air travel to tank of gas,
Greg Gutfeld stepped onto the stage with comedy so sharp it felt like a blade made of pure sarcasm, slicing through the moment with incredible precision. His target stood there with a puzzled grin and drifting eyes. It was Joe Biden, practically the human version of a confused teleprompter glitch. Gutfeld didn't warm up or slowly ease into the jokes. He attacked instantly, describing Biden not as a leader, but as a heavily guided mascot for policies that even his own team can't seem to translate. Every punchline landed with shocking accuracy, leaving the crowd stunned at how fearless and intense the comedy became.
It's a train wreck of a fact check. Yes, Reuters invites hilarity by fact-checking obvious parody, telling its readers no such luck. Biden doesn't really chase the ice cream truck. So it's no secret the big guy enjoys his ice cream. That's just one of the reasons why Dr. Jill calls him Mr. Softy.
Greg joked that the Biden presidency doesn't feel like a real administration at all. It plays out more like an extended senior moment that somehow affects the entire world at once. He compared Biden to that older relative who gets turned around in his own hallway but still insists he's ready to drive the whole family across the country with confidence that makes everyone nervous. It's not that Joe is unaware of what's going on, it's that he believes he fully understands it, and that belief turns every situation into a bigger challenge than it should be. Gutfeld pointed out how Biden can talk about fixing the economy while giving the expression of someone desperately trying to remember where he last placed his dentures, and the crowd couldn't stop laughing at the accuracy of the visual.
Guy's big ad buy comes one day before Robert Hur will testify about his report claiming that Joe is an elderly man with a poor memory. Biden will be taking his angry man shtick on tour and hit 3 swing states this week. Over the weekend, he gave us a preview of what senile moments you can expect.
Greg had an incredible time tearing apart Biden's speeches, turning each one into a moment of chaotic humor that the audience couldn't ignore. He joked that listening to Joe speak is like watching someone attempt to build IKEA furniture without the instructions, without their glasses, and without the faintest idea of what the final product is supposed to look like. Biden will start strong with a point about inflation, only to drift into a random tale about a cornfield in Delaware that nobody mentioned or expected. The words are technically present, but they're twisted together like a tangled ball of holiday lights thrown into a blender, leaving everyone unsure where the sentence is actually heading. Half the time it feels like someone hit shuffle on a playlist made of political slogans mixed with diner stories from the 1970s.
As we speak, he's actually lobbying Baskins and Robbins to make a flavor based on little girl shampoo. Although, when Joe says sprinkles, it means call the urologist.
And those pauses, those unforgettable, legendary Biden pauses, Greg absolutely tore into them with dramatic humor that made the crowd burst out laughing. He said, watching Joe stop mid-sentence feels like staring at a real-life buffering screen, where you're not sure if he's going to finish his thought, drift into a nap, or suddenly restart like a government robot loading a new update. Sometimes Biden leans forward and whispers as if he's about to share a hidden national secret, and other times he unexpectedly shouts a random word with the force of someone possessed by a dictionary spirit. The suspense keeps everyone on edge every single time, turning each speech into a guessing game of what will happen next.
Joe raided Mar-a-Lago with the feds. Now he gets a taste of his own meds. That's good. Yeah. Stop it. You're biting into the time. The White House admits that more classified documents were found, this time at one of Biden's homes in Delaware and in his garage. But it's cool, man, because that garage was totally locked.
Gutfeld went all in on Biden's leadership style, joking that choosing him was like electing a moving screensaver. It floats around, looks active from a distance, but accomplishes absolutely nothing, while everyone pretends it's doing real work. Greg painted Biden as the commander of pure confusion, where the biggest danger isn't another nation, but whether he remembers which doorway leads to the Oval Office. He joked that Biden gives off the vibe of someone who steps into a kitchen and instantly forgets why he showed up, except now those moments happen while he's signing major executive orders in the exact same day's state. Greg laughed that under Joe's watch, you practically need a small loan just to buy eggs, and a financial advisor to fill your gas tank, turning everyday errands into dramatic events. And when Biden proudly claims the economy is strong, Gutfeld said it feels like a magician, insisting the rabbit is still in the hat while it's clearly hopping away behind him. Greg even poked fun at Biden's constant displays of empathy, joking that Joe seems convinced that squinting and nodding dramatically are the same as solving real problems in the country.
Pennsylvania, I have a message for you. Send me to Congress that I can support this right, and I promise you, we take back Congress, we will restore Roe v. Wade as the law of the land.
Biden could show America his razor-sharp mind by debating Donald Trump, but so far, he refuses to commit.
Mr. President, will you commit to a debate with former President Trump? It depends on his behavior.
Greg didn't slow down for a second. He joked that Biden's go-to solution for rising crime, chaotic borders, and collapsing schools is to appear at a town hall, mumble something that sounds poetic but means nothing, and then wander off stage like a dad who lost his family at a crowded festival. He compared Biden's leadership to putting a lava lamp in charge of the nation's power grid. It glows and moves around in a pretty way, but it can't actually do anything useful, and eventually makes a huge mess when it overheats. Then Greg revisited some of Biden's strangest public moments, the invisible handshakes, the conversations with no one, and the moments where he suddenly freezes like someone pressed pause on a remote control. Greg joked that we're only one press conference away from Biden greeting a houseplant and mistaking it for a diplomat, and the crowd roared at the image. He said this isn't real governance. It feels more like a taxpayer-funded reboot of Weekend at Bernie's, but with podiums, microphones, and constant staff panic. And the only thing truly being built back better, Greg laughed, is the White House press team's emergency strategy every time Joe drifts away from the script, and that happens nearly every time he opens his mouth to speak.
The cold, sweet treat is perfect for cooling down after a long, hot, sweaty day of aimlessly drifting around the White House like a tumbleweed. But now Reuters, which claims to be a news outlet, is getting mocked online for actually fact-checking a clearly edited video of Biden getting distracted by an ice cream truck and walking out of frame.
When it came to foreign policy, Greg didn't hold back for a moment. He roasted Biden as the kind of person who tries to calm a dangerous wild animal by reading it a cozy bedtime story, completely missing the seriousness of the situation. Whether Biden is dealing with tense global conflicts or discussing major treaties, Greg said he shows the same energy as a worn-out substitute teacher who misplaced the lesson plan and just wants everyone to stay quiet until the day ends. He pointed out that world leaders don't exactly fear Biden. They observe him like an unusual science project, waiting for the moment someone else quietly steps in while he drifts off into a slow nod. Then Greg tackled the border crisis, calling it the greatest disappearing trick in modern politics. Not because the problem went away, but because Biden pretends it's invisible while it unfolds live every single day. Gutfeld laughed that with Biden, the idea of security feels more like a mood than an actual policy, shifting around with no structure or purpose. The borders stay wide open, the consequences keep growing, and Biden seems more focused on sipping oatmeal while his staff tries to reassure the country that everything is somehow fine. Meanwhile, everyday Americans stare at massive bills like contestants on a stressful game show. Guess the price, pay even more, and hope the lights stay on long enough to get through the month.
She's gonna win.
Joe Biden was the ultimate catfish.
Yeah.
We were all online being told, oh, this is a congenial centrist. Yeah, swipe right. I don't know how to do these dating apps.
Yeah.
But anyway, then you find out it's not him at all, but some guy in a bathrobe smoking meth.
Yeah.
God, how many times has that happened to me, huh?
Then Greg moved on to roasting Biden's endless image makeovers, laughing that trying to upgrade his public persona is like attempting to polish a cloud. No matter how hard they try, nothing actually changes. Every so often, Biden shows up wearing those classic aviator sunglasses, as if putting them on instantly erases the confusion, the stumbles, and the strange decisions that stack up week after week. Greg joked that if cool shades and an awkward jog down a hallway were enough to fix the entire country, Biden would have been honored as one of the nation's early founders by now. Instead, he ends up looking like someone who escaped a retirement home while searching for an outdoor concert from decades ago. Greg also attacked the student loan situation, calling Biden's efforts pure financial theater. One moment he's a hero promising relief, and the next he's getting shut down by courts, facts, and reality, while pretending money will magically appear from nowhere. Gutfeld joked that Biden's economic strategy feels like playing Monopoly after mortgaging every property and forgetting how the game even works. He argued that spending 40 years in politics isn't a qualification on its own. It just means Biden stayed near the building while everyone else actually got things done.
Alzer and Chancellor Farabee, thank you for joining us as well. And for families across the country, the school year.
That's hilarious. I would say the footage does seem manipulated. There's no way Joe can move that fast. But give him a break, he's got oil cancer.
Then came Biden's big push for unity, or at least the version of unity he keeps talking about, even while criticizing huge portions of the country at the same time. Greg joked that it's like inviting someone over for dinner and immediately making fun of their clothes, their kids, and their car before they even sit down. You can't claim to heal the nation while scolding half of it in the same breath. And Greg made that point with sharp comedic flair that had the audience roaring. He laughed that the only thing Biden has successfully united is the entire country's wish to stop hearing political commercials forever, just to regain a moment of peace. Wrapping up the bit, Greg pointed out that Biden might be the only president who can doze off in a meeting and still be praised for looking calm and collected, as if that's some groundbreaking achievement. Greg said we're living in a time where even Biden blinking in the correct direction gets celebrated as progress. And that's not real leadership. That's the whole nation choosing denial just to get through the day. He joked that America didn't end up with a president. What it got instead feels more like a long voicemail message left by someone who forgot they already pressed record, and now everyone's stuck listening to it.
Justice Department's appointing a special counsel to review whether Biden mishandled classified info. So how is the White House dealing with this? Come on, just got to trust the process.
This is an ongoing process under the review of the Department of Justice. We're going to respect the process, and we're just going to allow the process to continue. Let the process continue. It's an ongoing process. I am genuinely saying to you, there is an ongoing process. This is all part of the Justice Department process as part of that process. And I said because there was a process of justice throughout this process, we just laid out the process that was taken, and that is the process.
Yeah.
Gutfeld cranked the heat even higher, saying Biden's presidency feels like being trapped in a long airport layover that nobody planned for. Nothing works right, everyone is frustrated, and all you can do is wait for it to finally end while announcements keep getting more confusing. He compared Biden's policy updates to flight delay messages, always delivered with a forced smile, followed by pure chaos that leaves everyone scrambling for answers. One day, Biden is promoting a green energy event, and the next he's whispering about unity while ignoring a major train derailment happening right in front of the entire country. Greg joked that the White House has turned into a live-action version of Weekend at Bernie's, but instead of beaches and sunglasses, it's filled with cue cards, frantic staff, and press secretaries doing Olympic-level acrobatics to explain his missteps. Every time Biden turns to leave the stage, there's a real chance he'll walk straight into the flag, the wall, or the nearest musician, and yet some media outlets still react like he just performed a scientific breakthrough. Greg finished the bit by tearing into Biden's attempts to connect with everyday people, and the audience couldn't stop laughing at how dramatically out of touch those moments truly appear.
But what if the Biden cover-up was by design, orchestrated to protect not the president, but to enable a radical agenda? Anyone could tell Joe was feeble. But what if Biden's decline wasn't caused by disability, but by debility, meaning he was purposely kept exhausted, confused, and miserable, like an overnight shift worker or Fox and Friends viewer?
Gutfeld couldn't stop laughing as he tore into Biden's attempts to present himself as a working-class man, even while being seen at glamorous billionaire fundraisers and browsing fancy scented candles in Delaware like a weekend hobby. He joked that Biden talking about blue-collar struggles is like a reality show star claiming they understand homelessness because they once stayed in a slightly cheaper hotel room for a night. It's all performance with absolutely no real connection behind it, and Greg made the crowd crack up at how obvious it looks. He also mocked Biden's awkward social media videos, those stiff, overly rehearsed clips where he holds an ice cream cone or squints at the camera like he's trying to remember what year he's supposed to say it is. Greg joked that the videos resemble retirement home advertisements more than leadership messages, which had the audience roaring with laughter. He added that if Biden ever joined TikTok, his challenge would definitely be called Find the Exit. And as the crowd erupted, Greg kept smiling because this wasn't just comedy. It was a moment of release where people could laugh through the confusion and exhaustion of the times. Meanwhile, somewhere backstage, Biden was still asking someone where Air Force One might be parked.